Do you ever want to just eat it?
All the time. You know, one time I had. Well, we're recording now, but we're getting into the Batman in a second. One time I had a milkshake from Five Guys in my cup holder, and the Five Guys bag, it smelled so fucking good. And I'm just like driving, and it was like a 15-minute drive to where I was going to deliver it. And I just like, out of sheer habit, I just reached for the milkshake and went to go almost take a drink out. I was like, hold on, no, that's not mine. I can't have that.
Yeah, that temptation would be too much.
It's crazy. You pick it up, everything smells delicious.
I was all ready to have tacos from HelloFresh for lunch today. Got my haircut, and then like left the haircut place. There's a McDonald's right next door. So I texted Jen and said, "Hey, McDonald's is open." And she said, "Oh, is it?" So I got McDonald's for lunch.
There you go.
It was like McDonald's wouldn't be open.
In the middle of the day.
Yeah, right. All right. So we all saw the Batman last week.
Yep.
We're going to get that right off the top. We're going to get it out of the way so then we can get into the rest of the podcast. Yeah, it's going to be spoiler.
Okay.
Tons of spoilers. We're going to spoil the shit out of it. So if you want to skip forward ahead, I don't know how long it's going to be. I would guess probably at least like 15 minutes, right? 10, 15 minutes. We'll talk about the Batman.
I think so.
Sure.
And then we'll get into the episode. So, yeah, beware of spoilers. So, first of all, did you guys enjoy the IMAX experience of Batman?
I loved it. I do wish that we sat further back.
Yeah.
I mean, what were we, like row E? So
Yeah.
not like right up front and close, but I was like remembering when we saw Shang-Chi, we were in the back row, and that was like ideal there.
Yeah, that screen is tough because I was at certain times, like when they go to, later on in the movie, when they get to Riddler's apartment.
Yeah.
My head was scanning all around,
Right.
looking at shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that can be tough.
But like the sound and like it was, I don't want to say like Dune, but like you were in it. You know what I mean? It was immersive. You know what I mean? You were immersed in the movie with the score and the visuals. It was really something.
My biggest problem with the IMAX theater at Providence Place Mall is it hasn't been updated in so long.
Ever. But they got new seats. The seats are new.
The seats are new. Nothing else has changed.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the sound system is the same as it's always been.
Oh.
And what the problem is with that is other theaters like AMC, they have Dolby.
Right.
Which is like the way, if you want, it's not the biggest screen most of the time. Like the one at Assembly Row.
Right.
Is like a gorgeous, that's where we saw Return of the King, right?
Right. No, that Dorchester.
Right,
but
but same
AMC.
Right. It's a gorgeous screen, and the sound is amazing. The screen's not as big as the IMAX theater at Providence Place Mall, but you get a better experience. So I think I want to go see it because the score is so good.
Right.
And like the visuals are so good. Like I want to see it in the best possible. And Dolby right now at the theaters is the best possible, like quality-wise way to see it.
So Derek, I think he was going to see it. I don't know if you saw it, but he was going to see it in the new theaters at Warwick Mall. And he said, like, he asked me the difference between, there's Batman and then Batman ACX. And he's like, what's ACX? I'm like, I don't know. I looked it up, and it's a better sound. You know what I mean? Like, it's an upgraded sound system. So the Warwick Mall Theater has, an upgraded sound system for some of their shows.
I would always recommend that if you can see it that way, because, especially for this movie. But anyway, so let's talk about this Batman movie in terms of other Batman movies.
Mm-hmm.
Batman. Where do you think it stands as far as like, what is it like and what is it not like as far as the other Batman movies? Like, let's start with the Nolan trilogy. How alike and how not alike is it with the Nolan trilogy? Like, what is the big standouts for this Batman versus Nolan's Batman?
I think like for me, it's similar to the trilogy because of like the darkness and the grittiness of it, especially
super grounded.
Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises. So Batman Begins for me wasn't that not as dark and gritty as the two after.
I think I like Batman Begins. It's good, but I think it got propped up after the success of Dark Knight.
Like once Dark Knight came out, then like all bets were off because that one kind of changed everything. So
Right.
for me, that's how it was similar. The darkness and the grittiness. But it I don't know. It felt like he was definitely a different kind of Batman, which that might have been not my least favorite part of it, but he was kind of like an emo, just his look. I mean, he's a different build. Like I don't know. I mean, he was in good shape, but the way I look at him is more of like a emo, mopey Batman than Christian Bale was.
So I was like, I thought about this after the movie too, and I had seen it on Twitter afterwards, and I get it. So he has like his first conversation with Alfred in the Batcave is basically like, I don't give a shit about, I don't care about myself. Like how do I put this?
Well, his whole attitude was like he wasn't sleeping. Like he was almost kind of like putting himself like in an early grave with the amount of work he was
Right.
physically and mentally putting into the missions.
Right. And then his like little monologue at the end of the movie was like his tune changed. So I think that will signal like his change from being like the dark, emo, loner, drifter Batman to more of like the, more of the philanthropist playboy version that we're, used to seeing. Like there's going to be a like I feel like in the second Batman, once they greenlight it, we'll see him being Bruce Wayne more, because this was a Batman movie. He was Bruce Wayne for like maybe 10 minutes in the movie.
Lindy asked me about that. I was like, how often do you get to like see Robert Pattinson as Robert Pattinson? Not often.
Not often.
Like the scene with at the funeral, like that's one that stands out in my head. Like, but other times you see him, but he also still has the eye makeup on. So it's like that eye makeup, which I love.
He's still in Batman mode.
Right. He's like fading in between. Like he's still Batman, but he, you know what I mean? Like he's like fading between the two personalities.
Yeah.
My biggest thing, and you hit on it right there, Adam, was with the Bruce Wayne, like the playboy billionaire, is like, we haven't seen that yet. And I think that he is going to figure himself out as Batman, and then I think that'll help like tell the story of who he is as Bruce Wayne, because I think that happens with Christian Bale's Batman. I think that happens with Ben Affleck's Batman. The very limited amount we got to see of it is like him as a badass playboy. It comes from, I think, his confidence that he builds as Batman.
Right.
Right. He's like he's still very broken at this point about he's still very driven by his parents' murder. And
he's not involved in Wayne Industries at all.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Yeah.
But like in the Nolan trilogy, like there's scenes of him in the boardroom.
Right.
In every one.
Right. And he also taps it. Like we haven't seen like any of the things he has. Like when you before also, Adam, you said he's very grounded. This Batman I love because everything makes total sense. Like it is like it is spectacle, but when he gets to the top of that skyscraper and he jumps off, he puts on the wingsuit that is built into his cape.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
That's incredible. Like like everything like his cape. Okay, in other movies like they had like explanations for why it could fly, but this one he puts on an actual wingsuit that people use when they base jump. To,
right.
And he fucks up.
And it was definitely the first time he's done that.
Yeah,
that
and he was terrified. He gets to the top and he wasn't just like, I'll jump and let's go. He like fucking was like paused, breathed, put it on and went. But like the whole thing is grounded in reality. And like Nolan's Christian Bale's Batman, he's tapped into, Wayne Enterprises like military contracts.
Right.
And, like,
he's got Lucius. He doesn't have Lucius Fox yet.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so maybe he'll get
everything
that
he
resource.
has. It's him and it's Alfred, who this Alfred, we'll get to characters in a second, but this Alfred might be the most helpful Alfred of all time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Outside of like maybe the Alfred in the comics. Like, like even like just like the Tom King ones.
Yeah.
Like or Scott Snyder's Alfred.
Yeah.
Very helpful. But
Love Michael Caine, but
Jeremy Irons was very helpful, like driving the machines and always in his ear. Like he was the guy in the chair for him.
Unfortunately we didn't get a lot of him.
Right.
Yeah. But you're right. Yeah, he was very helpful.
To go back to your question, like where do I put it? So like I'm a huge champion of the Christopher Nolan ones. I love them. And obviously The Dark Knight is my favorite one. And Christian Bale is an amazing Batman. But The Dark Knight is Heath Ledger's movie.
Yeah.
And as much as I heard for the Batman that it was like, oh, this one's good and this one's good and this one's good, Robert Pattinson was awesome. I thought he was awesome as Batman in that movie. Like just the way he he used his eyes so well, almost like Tom Hardy-esque. You know how like Tom Hardy's in half of his movies, half of his face is covered, and he uses portrays his emotions with his eyes. And I thought Robert Pattinson did a really, really good job of that.
He also did a good job of doing it with his body as well.
Yeah.
When he walked into a crime scene, and this essentially is like, you read the synopsis. I'm going to read the synopsis for you quick. When the Riddler, a sadistic serial killer, begins murdering key political figures in Gotham, Batman is forced to investigate the city's hidden corruption and find and question his family's involvement. That just sounds like a very straight. If you get rid of Batman, Riddler, Gotham, you call it New York, you call it a PI. Like this just sounds like a very like Zodiac, like
A detective thriller.
Yes.
Yeah.
Detective thriller. When he gets to a crime scene, every single one of his movements is deliberate.
Yeah.
He looks down, he sees the things the cops don't see. Like this is a very tapped in, and who knows where that background comes from. It's just like maybe it's just him doing his research because he's so infatuated with what happened to his parents.
Right.
But whatever it is, he's super tuned into that. And the only person seems like that knows that he's a super valuable asset is Jim Gordon.
Yeah.
And Jim Gordon like takes everything, he like lets him like touch everything. How many times will a cop be like, "Hey, you're gonna let him do that?" I'm like, yes, we're gonna let him do that.
Yeah.
He's figuring
This
out
was
all
my
of this.
favorite Batman Jim Gordon relationship.
Yeah, they were like
in a Batman
they were
movie.
like actual partners. You know what I
Yes.
mean? They were like investigator partners.
I also love that they just jumped right into that. They didn't need
Yeah.
to. They didn't need to. There was no setup at all.
yeah, it
just
was,
like-
his only ally.
yes.
And until he becomes friendly with Selena Kyle, and
Sure.
they start their partners, like helping each other for different reasons, but like sort of working towards the same end game. I wanted to say too. I lost my train of thought. Sorry, somebody else
Well,
can go.
we're talking about Jim Gordon anyway, but also this Gotham versus other Gothams. This seems like it's like we said before, grounded in reality, but also just like it's way darker, way seedier, way grosser than any other Gotham really that we. You know what I mean? Like I'm thinking about like aside from Dark Knight Rises, when literally the prisoners are running the city.
Right.
Like, what other Batman is it really like? Like you get like that gang at the beginning of the movie chasing down innocent people and just beating them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't really get that kind of like, and like the club, like
It felt like the same Gotham that they set up in Joker.
That's what I was
even though
gonna
they're
ask.
not connected.
sure, yeah.
It felt like
because that one was pretty dark.
right. But like in the Tim Burton ones and
It's very
the Joel Schumacher ones, like it led you to believe that Gotham was like a scummy city, but it was like a
It's like more comic booky.
a cartoony element to it.
Yeah.
Oh, and speaking of comic books, Matt, I know you've read a ton of Batman comic books. Just to start at the top of this, like the opening Batman monologue and how like it went through 3 different crimes happening at the same time. You had the graffiti guys, you had the guy in the onion mask like robbing a convenience store, and then you had the gang like stalking some innocent person on the subway. And like that is exactly how a Batman comic book opens up. It's like you see those 3 things going different things going on, and you see like the panels as squares, and that just means like it's a voiceover basically, and that's how it was like panel for panel, like
that's very Frank Miller.
they think I'm in the shadows, but I am the shadows, like something like that. And then he shows up at one. You know what I mean? That's exactly how a Batman comic book an arc opens up, which I thought was awesome.
That open was so them all being like they. It was different. Like usually in like these Batman movies, like either Batman's been around for a while, but like this isn't something new for them, and they're very scared of the Batman.
Right.
When they see that symbol, it's
Yeah, and like they just look in like in a lot of spots, like they're just looking into the darkness, and maybe he's there, maybe he's not, and they're terrified.
Right.
I did kind of like how that was set up. And as you mentioned, there was 3 different crimes happening, but the whole point of him is like he's everywhere.
Right.
Even if he's not there.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is very cool.
He had a hand in like limiting or stopping all 3 crimes, even though he was only at one.
Right.
Because
Just
of his
because of-
presence.
Just the way the movie was shot it's so beautiful, and like that's why I want to go see it on like a better, not that the IMAX screen in Providence is not great, but like see it on a better screen. Like I can't wait to watch it at home too. Like I can't wait to like get that like on my TV. It's gonna look fantastic.
And you won't lose because so much of it, like Matt Reeves, the director, said that so much of it was done with practical effects. Like you won't lose like how beautiful it is at home, because like how often do you watch like a Marvel movie at home and everything is very obviously CGI?
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And it's fine. It's not a gripe or anything, but it's just like a whole different. Like I don't
Takes
hate
you out
it.
of it a little bit.
I don't hate it,
Yeah.
but it's so much better when it's practical effects and not all done in front of a green screen. Like Matt Reeves has said that 2 things that I thought like had to have some element of CGI: the car chase, not CGI.
Yeah.
like they blew those cars up and drove the Batmobile through the fire. And then the scene at the Iceberg Lounge when Batman is like
The guns.
the guns,
Yeah.
all, like practical effects.
That was
Like,
probably my maybe my favorite scene.
Good thing Alec Baldwin wasn't on that set.
oh my god,
A lot of bullets.
They're all dead.
terrible!
But yeah, I mean,
Robert Pattinson, he's down.
That was so cool where it's just like darkness and the light is the
Yeah.
you know the flame from
it
the,
just like
the
it
gunshot.
makes him so mysterious and
Yeah.
so fucking badass. The way they framed him as Batman made everything so fucking badass.
Yeah,
Nothing
yes.
like the man is wearing ears and a cape.
Yeah.
And for some reason, every scene I see him in, I'm like, that is a fucking badass
Right,
motherfucker.
even
That
when
is
he's
someone
like,
you should be afraid of.
Yeah.
right, even like when he's his presence walking through the crime scene and walking into the Iceberg Lounge, he's the biggest guy there.
Yeah.
and he's like dressed like a bat, but it's still so intimidating.
Yeah, it's just and also like going back to that like the CGI scenes, all the fight scenes with Batman hand to hand combat. I don't think there was anything where I was ever like, oh man, well that's ridiculous. Like,
Yeah.
How many fight scenes do you see in movies where a bunch of bad guys surround the good guy and they're fighting him? But like, if you really look at the scene, there's one guy waiting to throw his punch.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
It's
none
like
of them felt like that.
Like a Steven Seagal Taekwondo tournament.
Yes, right. Yeah, just- right, exactly. It didn't. None of those scenes felt like that.
Yeah.
Like those scenes felt like those guys were really trying to kill Batman, and he just fucking handled them.
right.
Some of them were brutal too. Like at the beginning at the bus when he's like beating that guy
Beat the
senseless.
shit out of that guy.
And it happened a couple other times too, where he was like really going at the end in not Madison Square Garden, but whatever.
Gotham Square Garden.
Yeah.
Right.
When he's like, I mean,
He's beating the
it
shit out
just
of
felt
those guys.
real.
Oh, I remember what
I felt like I was watching a UFC fight.
I remember what I wanted to say is on Twitter I had seen like someone griping about how quickly he would solve the riddles and pick up clues and like might as well just put on the banner of their Twitter account like I've never read a Batman comic book in my life. He's the world's greatest detective. He's fucking smarter than you. He's smarter than everybody. And to top it all off, he didn't figure it out.
Yeah.
He didn't figure
He didn't
everything
figure
out.
he's very new at this.
Wait, so
Also, like,
this person was upset that
That he like, got figured out the riddles so quickly. Like the Joker's riddles. But like
it's a movie, first of all.
one of Batman's longest running concurrent comics is called Detective Comics.
Yes, it's Batman Detective Comics. There's
It is the
over
long-
1,000 issues.
He's been doing this for a while. He's good at it. This
But
is his
I
thing.
thought they did a good job of even like I don't read any of the comics, but
closer to you.
I thought they did a really good job of just showing his skill set in that realm as far as being a detective, being able to figure things out. And the Riddler's riddles are based in logic and reality too.
Right, there wasn't anything
It wasn't.
crazy.
It's not a trick.
Right.
Like the Riddler wanted him to figure it out.
Yes, they're meant to be
they're
figured
meant to
out.
be figured out.
And I was
they're
ner-
made specifically for him.
Right.
When I saw that Paul Dano was playing and the little bit of I saw of the clips they showed of Paul Dano, I was worried that Matt Reeves was going to get the Riddler wrong and make him more like the Joker.
Right.
But they're very different characters.
They
They're
are.
two different characters. The Joker would do that. The Riddler would not.
Right.
The Riddler is about his riddles and about his like mystery, but there's an answer to it.
Right.
Sometimes with the Joker, there isn't an answer to it.
Yeah.
He's like what
He's chaos.
Dark Knight says. He's like, I'm like a dog chasing cars. I don't know what I would do if I caught one.
Right. And
The Riddler's a different character.
Right. Like he's trying to be caught too, but like he's gonna make you jump through some hoops.
Yeah. So, and I thought that scene with him. All right. So let's get into the characters.
There's a Batman comic book called 0 Year, and it's like Bruce Wayne's first year as Batman, but it's called 0 Year because Riddler takes over the city, and like it's not year 2000 whatever anymore. It's year 0. Like they start the clock like he wants to start the clock over in Gotham, and like during the final confrontation, like Batman's trying to get to the Riddler, and he's like going through his gauntlet and doing the riddles, and like the Riddler starts a riddle. And Batman gives him the answer before he can finish the riddle. And he goes, "How did you know I'm Batman?" Like that was his response. I'm Batman. It's just something I thought was I thought was cool.
And then there's this great comic run that Tom King does in his most recent. It's since ended, but the Batman run that he did recently, there was a set of like 6 comics. There was the War of Jokes and Riddles.
Oh,
And it
man.
was- which is tremendous. It was the Joker recruits a bunch of villains to fight for him, and the Riddler recruits a bunch of villains to fight for him. And they do a really good job in the comics, like explaining why, like they're two totally different minds.
Yeah, they're in a war to see who gets to kill Batman.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah, it doesn't. They don't strike me as people who would do good with partners or teammates.
No,
they need to be solo.
Deathstroke and Deadshot.
Oh yeah,
They fight for 4 days or something like that on
yeah.
the streets of Gotham.
So one of them recruits Deathstroke, the other one recruits
Deathstroke.
Deadshot to assassinate the other one, and like the Deathstroke and Deadshot are very similar in abilities, and like they have a 4-day war in Gotham and tear the city apart, and like Batman has to come in and stop the both of them.
Just against each other.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the characters
Okay.
because I thought this was an interestingly cast movie. Obviously, Rob Pattinson, we talked about. Andy Serkis as Alfred. You had Zoe Kravitz, Catwoman. You had
Colin Farrell as the Penguin.
that was what I meant by interesting.
Yeah.
You couldn't tell it was Colin Farrell.
You had
Not
no
at
Not
idea.
in voice, not in face, nothing.
Nothing.
So at
I
least
thought before we get too deep into him, I thought John Turturro was awesome as Carmine
good.
Falcone as
so
well.
good. That was surprising. I actually didn't. I think I knew like back when they were first casting everybody, I knew he was involved, but that was something that totally escaped me.
I didn't think he would be that involved.
Right.
Even the Penguin, I didn't think he would be that involved, but they all got like 15, 20 plus minutes of screen time. I think I didn't time it,
Yeah,
but
they were pretty big.
Colin
parts.
Farrell's Penguin's an early Penguin.
yep.
This is an early Penguin. He's not like
he's-
the boss that he is in a lot of the other.
Right. He's working under Carmine Falcone. He's like his number 2. I don't even think Zoe Kravitz, Catwoman, I would say she was the second lead of the movie. And
Yeah.
she was awesome.
Yeah, she was great.
She was really good. It was you meet her and she is a burglar. You know what I mean? But she's doing it to there's no frills about her, but it could be her first burglary when she goes to the mayor's apartment or house, whatever, to get her friend's passport back. That could be her first one. You don't know.
you don't really know.
Because you don't hear anything else about her. Like she's not as like refined as the Anne Hathaway Catwoman. So that could have been her first, first trick as Catwoman. And she has a lot of cats, so that's where she gets it from. Who else? Like you said, Colin Farrell was tremendous, and they just greenlit his own show on HBO Max that'll be awesome.
So sequels and spinoffs. Obviously, we're getting another Batman movie, but I think before then, I think we're going to get a couple shows. We will definitely get the Penguin show, and we might get a Catwoman show.
And like, remember that a while back they had said that they wanted to do. Matt Reeves said I think he was greenlit to do a Gotham PD show, but he said it has evolved into a show about Arkham Asylum, like a House of Horrors sort of place.
That's cool.
So who knows who you'll see in there? You know what I mean? Just open up the what's the expression I'm looking for?
Open the book.
No,
Pandora's box.
no.
That's all I got.
Gallery of Rogues.
Oh, Rogues Gallery.
Rogues
Yeah,
Gallery for Batman.
I think this is just the new reality with movies and TV shows. Anything like this kind of property with all these like opportunities for spin-offs, instead of making them their own movie. James Gunn with Suicide Squad, which was a tremendous revamp of the one that was done a bunch of years ago. And then the spin-off with Peacemaker is like the perfect, and like doing it on HBO makes total sense.
Right.
That's why I think this will be, the Penguin will be really good on HBO.
Right.
So this
6,
is just going to be
8 episodes. Perfect.
Yeah.
Peacemaker has set the bar very high
Yeah.
for those type of character spin-offs.
And also, this gives you a chance, I think, too, like if the next Batman movie has something largely to do with the Penguin, it's going to be a very different feeling thing than the Penguin TV show. And I think you can do that without worrying about mixing the two worlds and kind of ruining the film one and the you know what I'm saying?
Right. I think the Penguin, even though he's like a mainstay villain for Batman, I think like he'll be in his own show, obviously, but then probably in the Batman 2. But the Batman 2, like I think the greater villain will not be the Penguin again. You know what I mean?
No.
Right.
Like I think it'll be the Joker or Mr. Freeze or Harvey Dent or something like that. Speaking of Harvey Dent, I was like racking my brain after the movie trying to figure out like Easter eggs on who else could be introduced just on that movie, like trying to figure like what I saw and this and that. Obviously, there's the Joker cameo in Arkham Asylum, the unnamed
Arkham.
Arkham
Yeah,
inmate.
yeah, right.
So he's there. At the end, when like Batman is on the brink of death, and Catwoman is like overcome by one of the Riddler's goons, like that's Venom. He like the
yeah,
Bane's
totally.
Venom.
Yeah.
Like so, the character Bane, he gets all juiced up and amped up on. It's called Venom, and it's green. It's very obviously that's the color.
It's very different than Tom Hardy's Bane.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's
It's like
two.
more of like the one from the
With like the
In the
one with like
90s.
Uma Thurman.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's two. And then the third one is like sort of an indirect reference, but Gil Colson, the Gotham DA, gets blown up at the mayor's
It was
funeral.
played by
Funeral. Peter
Sarsgaard.
Sarsgaard.
Yeah.
And so he gets blown up. So Gotham needs a new DA now. And I would expect that
Yeah.
Harvey Dent.
Harvey Dent. Also, I don't know if you. So the reporter, I loved the storyline of like what happened with when he went to Toro Falcone and like found out what happened with his father or whatever. But did you notice that the reporter's last name Elliot? Does that ring a bell for you at all?
The reporter.
The reporter that
got killed?
that got killed. Doesn't the last name ring a bell to you? Elliot.
Yes. Hush. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a great Batman comic, Hush, and the villain is.
Oh, I didn't pick that one up.
Yeah, so it's just a callback. Matt Reeves, I think he left a lot of breadcrumbs. I don't think he's going to go in every direction. But
Right.
There was a lot of breadcrumbs. There was
He even
breadcrumbs.
plastered Hush across the screen at one point.
Right. Yes. Right. That very obvious one. Totally. Yeah. So yeah, let's talk about the climax of the movie, and then we'll kind of like figure out how this falls in all the other DC movies that are happening right now. So, the whole story of the movie, renewal. It's this big fund that the Waynes put together, and it ends up being misused after Thomas
Because of
Wayne.
Thomas Wayne's death, it gets reused as like
Just
a
essentially
free
a slush fund for,
Right,
for
criminals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
criminals. And Bruce Wayne goes to Falcone to find out what happened because he knew that he was involved somehow. And he tells him this story about how Thomas Wayne needed this reporter to go away so things could go better. And he killed the reporter, blah, blah, blah. And I loved because Falcone told him the truth.
Right.
Told him he lied by omission, but he told him the truth.
right.
And this led Batman to believe that his father could have been a bad guy and he didn't actually know his dad. But then he talks to Alfred, and Alfred tells him the whole truth, which is not much different.
And you know what though? In Falcone's mind, like
yeah, right. He's a criminal. That's
that's
he was
what you
gonna
do. You want somebody to shut up, you kill him.
Right.
So when Thomas Wayne said, "I don't want I need this guy to be quiet," that's how you make him quiet.
Yeah.
And I
That's
think
what you do.
I'm sure
Guaranteed.
Thomas Wayne knew deep down there was a possibility this was going to
Sure.
happen.
He's not naive about it.
Right. But he, back against the wall trying to protect his family.
Right.
That's what he chose to do.
I thought that was an interesting way to because you always I don't know, Thomas Wayne in the Joker movie is kind of a dick.
Yeah.
But you don't really get that. You don't really get that he's dead. He was killed. It's a tragedy. Thomas Wayne was this billionaire that helped the city.
Right.
You don't really get how could that have gone wrong? Mm-hmm. Renewal is how it could have gone wrong. How all the cops were working for Falcone. Everything was about. It was just an underground.
Just a cash grab.
Yeah.
Right.
Who could make the most money out of it?
So you mentioned characters earlier, and I don't think we've talked enough about him. It was Paul Dano.
Right.
I thought you saw his face in two scenes. I mean, 2 to 3.
Yeah.
But really only 2 that mattered. Like the one where he gets caught at the coffee shop, and then the one at Arkham Asylum. And even the scenes where he had the duct tape mask on, I thought he was awesome. We talked about how different the Joker and the Riddler are, and I thought he played it really well. I thought it was help me out here, Matt. It wasn't as zany and as unhinged as the Joker would be.
No,
but it was still crazy, but it was calculated.
He was calculated, but also this seems like a very real possibility of someone that in the right circumstances could snap.
Easily.
And all the things he's doing, really, again, grounded in reality. This all seems like things that
Someone could do.
it's not. Nothing he does is crazy, elaborate. You know what I mean? Nothing is crazy. I mean, maybe the DA driving his car through the fucking church at the funeral is a little elaborate, but everything he does is kind of like he gets a bunch of vans, he fills them with explosives, he puts them where they need to be, he kills a bunch of people.
Right.
I mean, serial killers fucking happen all the time.
He manipulates everyone,
Right.
including Batman, to like get to his end game. You know what I mean? Get to where he needs to be. And as far as he knew, Batman was smart enough to figure everything out so they could watch the city go underwater together from Arkham, and he didn't. Batman missed something.
He almost didn't, and the Riddler really gave him that. He gave him that like redo almost.
Right.
It's like you're not as smart as I thought you were. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say it, like the way he played the Riddler, I enjoyed, but it's a very fine line where it could have been like silly.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the times you're just seeing him, in these videos that he's doing, and he's, doing the heavy breathing and the maniacal laughing. And I don't know, that, like, for me at least, like that as a villain, it's tricky. Like if you do it too much, then I'm not taking you seriously anymore.
I thought him going online and talking to his fans and the people that were supporting him
on
at the end,
the dark web.
on the dark web, like nobody would be able to figure out like where and what that is, especially Batman.
Yeah.
Like that rode the line of like, oh, okay.
Yeah, but I gotta imagine that's what those people do.
Sure, right. But like, think about how like
But he's-
I know in the Joker and the Riddler, two different
And
people.
then it pays off because he like recruits them. Like he's got a gang of people.
Right.
You know, he attains, what is it, 500 followers.
Yeah, but
on
I
the
think
dark
like,
web.
I think like the rooting him on and all that stuff, it was a little heavy-handed. I think just in my eyes, like a little bit. Like the Joker recruits in the beginning of the Dark Knight when he recruits the clowns to do his plan, and nobody even knows really. Like they know him, but he's in the plan with them, and they don't know he's working with them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's like this. I don't know. He's an enigma, and so, I mean, obviously, and so is the Riddler. But I don't know that his fans like fawning over him online was a little too far for me, but it didn't hurt anything.
Yeah, there wasn't enough of it for you to be like, it made sense too, because that's how he was able to get caught and then still, have a horse in the race at the end.
I will say, was it when he's in the jail cell when he's moaning? Is it at the end when he's
probably
when he's upset moaning? All I could think of was that Office episode when Jim and Pam stay at Dwight's farm and Dwight's moaning in the middle of the night. So that and and maybe that's just like my sense of humor and where my mind goes. But I was a little worried when he was first starting to do these videos and he's just like pacing around and heavy breathing but it never for me like I was afraid.
Yeah,
like, he was a good villain.
Yeah, but you're right. It is a fine line.
And it's the actor, and two, it's the director.
Yeah.
Like if the actor goes overboard and the director doesn't rein him in, or if, either or, then all of a sudden it goes from scary to like, all right, it's kind of stupid. Because a lot's riding on the Riddler. If the Riddler's not scary, then why are we rooting for Batman?
Yeah.
This guy's a joke. But I thought
I thought he
really
was
good.
scary.
Yeah, I did too. And I think a lot of it has to do with it being something, a realistic thing that some psychopath could do.
Yeah.
So you wanted to talk about the climax, and then we could go into the.
So anyway, we were talking before the climax. We were talking about how Batman found out the truth about the quote unquote truth about his father, but of course at the end Batman forgets one riddle and he goes back and finds out that the mayor elect is holding she was holding her rally.
Yeah.
And he blew up the surrounding seawalls around the city and essentially flooded the city. And Batman couldn't stop it. He was too late. He figured out what happened, but he was too late to stop it happening.
Thank God that cop's uncle was a
I thought that
carpet
was,
installer.
I know, right? I thought that was I thought that was interesting because usually at this moment, Batman flies the bomb out of Gotham. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
He's there in time.
Or Iron Man takes the bomb out of New York. Like he's in time to call the police and have them get those vans and deactivate the bombs. In this case, no. Tragedy happens and we leave Gotham in ruin.
Right.
Essentially, which is something that I really liked because you don't get that a lot.
Right.
How often does that, you don't really he won, but not really.
Right. But what he did, what the big W for Batman there was he saved a lot of people, a lot of important people at that rally, and he he was out in the daylight. You know what I mean? Like the sun was coming up when they were on the roof of the the arena.
Yeah.
And that's like very different than when the entire rest of the movie, because he's out at night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he might be out at dawn or dusk, but it's like him and Gordon or him and Catwoman. It's just one other person that he like really trusts. But now at the end of the movie, after he saved all those people, he saved the mayor, who 100%. After that gunshot and that disgusting water flooded the place, infection, dead
Absolutely
from infection.
infected, yeah.
That was the Jen was saying that after the movie.
Gross.
But
Imagine
I
that
can
water.
I'm that's just
It looked
being
clean
stupid.
in the movie, but it can't be clean.
But anyways, it's like a sort of like a rebirth for Batman, and like he even says like the city has hope. I have to become more, and to me that sort of means like the city and the cops will trust him. There'll be like a higher level of trust with Batman between the citizens of Gotham and the police has been attained. You know what I mean? Because he saved a lot of people.
In that scene where Jim Gordon brings Falcone outside, right? Is it Falcone or is it Penguin? When he brings him outside, well, it's Falcone.
Yeah, 'cause he
brings
dies.
him into the light,
Under the
Yeah.
street light. Yeah.
and you see like how many cops are not won't go with the Falcone is like the person we fight for.
Right.
Like they are true cops and they're fighting for the city of Gotham.
Right.
So like that was a cool moment because you're led to believe that like everybody
Yes.
is on Falcone's payroll.
Right.
That's what I
Up
thought.
until that
Everybody.
point.
And like you expect like this to be like a covert operation where Jim Gordon like doesn't know where to take Falcone when he takes him out of there. Like where's
Right.
a safe place to take him? Where
He even says, "I've been the mayor for 20 years. It doesn't matter."
yeah,
who the-"
right. And so like to see that like that big group of police outside where obviously he ends up dying, but that big group of cops to like there is like gives hope to the Gotham PD as
Yeah.
well. Too.
So I do think with the end, and as much as Batman, saved the day and saved a lot of important people, I think him not being there in time and the devastation that it caused and the chaos and the people who died, moving forward, there's going to be enough normal, everyday people who are mad at him that he didn't get there
Yeah.
in time. That, whether it's the Joker or the Riddler or the Penguin, that there's going to be enough people to recruit that are just pissed off that Batman didn't save the day.
Right. That's a really good
He'll have
point.
enough enemies, I think.
Because that's something I think about when I watch, like, really anything is like, where, and like a movie where, like, there's two superpowers going against one another, but they all have like gangs of goons. Where the fuck do all these guys come from? You know what I mean?
What do you do during?
What are you doing? And then like I always think about Batman's like running through goons, kicking their ass. Like, who is that guy? Who is that goon? How did he get to this point?
Yeah.
And that's a really good point. Because he didn't save anybody, maybe that goon turns around and blames Batman for not being there in time and is like, you know what? I'm putting my eggs in the Riddler basket next time.
Yeah, like someone's family member died because Batman got there late. Even
Right.
though he did so much and saved so many lives,
He didn't save me.
he didn't save me or my family or my friend. So
Right. That's a good point.
It's a Tony Stark effect.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
He's a troublemaker.
All of
that's
Tony
Stark.
Stark's villains are people that work for him.
So, well, you want to do the
Yeah, so let's give it a grade.
okay.
So
A grade or a thumbs up or thumbs
yeah,
down?
is our grade. Thumbs
Okay.
up, thumbs down, thumbs medium.
Okay,
Thumbs
I'm a-
medium rare.
I'm a thumbs up.
Yeah,
Big time thumbs up.
Yeah,
for
I
me.
mean,
I
yeah.
think it's easy.
I thought it was fantastic.
The score. A shout out to Michael Giacchino.
Yep.
Giacchino.
Incredible.
Oh.
I've been listening to it nonstop.
Me too.
It's incredible. It definitely like people equate it to. It has a definitely like influences from the Imperial March from Star Wars. It's two very different things, but it is fucking badass nonetheless. It is awesome. I listen to it all the time.
For me, like it's on the for it's on. I can't put it above The Dark Knight because that's one of my favorite movies. And like I said before, it's a Joker movie, but I'm not taking anything away from Christian Bale because like he's fucking awesome in it too. You know what I mean? The part where he goes to Hong Kong and like kidnaps Lau is amazing in that
Yeah.
movie. But he's already a seasoned Batman. You know what I mean? Like he can do that stuff. He's got the tech, he's got the smarts, he's got the balls. He's ready for it. So it's tough to compare the Batman to Batman, but it's on the same level for me. You know what I mean? It's above the Keatons. It's above Kilmer, obviously Clooney.
I mean, obviously.
It's for me. I like it better than I like Batman Begins. I can say that confidently.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think so as
I think
well.
it's above Dark Knight Rises.
Yep.
Yeah, I would.
I think it's about any other Batman before.
Dark Knight's just tough because it
because
kinda,
Heath
like,
Ledger is
changed
so
everything.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that is the reason.
Yeah.
the reason.
I will say the first thing I wanted to do after we saw it in IMAX was watch it again.
Yes.
So
Exactly.
I think that's
and that is a mark of a good movie. Like, I'm dying to see it again.
That's the only litmus test you need at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Would you sit down and watch it for another 3 hours? And I would.
100%. That
I had to pee 10 minutes in, and I didn't get up.
held it. I like rationed my Blue Icy throughout the movie so I could stay for the whole thing.
I'm gonna tell you, I'm so pissed off. They gave us paper straws. I had never had a paper
Yeah.
straw with I was trying to ration my Blue Icy, but the fucking straw
too late.
failed.
There's no.
late.
What's the point
It
in
failed.
paper straws?
I hate it.
I'm all about saving the oceans, but find another way.
I'm gonna have to bring my own straws now.
So we definitely go over the
I'll bring a reusable.
10, 15 minutes?
Oh yeah, at 41 minutes.
What?
Yes, 40 minutes into the podcast
Really?
right now. Yes, 40 minutes into. I mean, my milkshake story took up the first 2 minutes, and
We
now
could do this as a separate.
No, let's just. I mean, no. Let's just go. This is gonna be a monster.
'Cause I think it's gonna be a
Our
quick
fans
draft,
love us.
too.
Yeah, it's gonna be. Yeah. We'll be fine. Anyway, average nobody's podcast.
Well, I want to talk about the other DC movies.
Oh, right.
No, let's do the DC movies first.
yeah. Okay. So
So they delayed a shitload of DC movies. They a month or two ago, they came out with 2022 is the year of DC.
AMC had this trailer that they put out before their
They
movies.
played it before the fucking movie we went to.
Right.
They did.
And they play this amazing trailer where they have Black Adam and they have Flash and they have what are some of the other ones they had in there? Aquaman,
Shazam. Shazam's 2023 anyway.
Yeah, and they had and they showed all these amazing things that are coming to DC, and we're like, they're finally doing it.
Right.
They're finally getting themselves together.
They're finally doing it again.
And right. They're finally continuing.
And so, the Flash and Aquaman got delayed. And Matt and I have been talking about the Flash since we were doing the Make Movies Great Again podcast when I was in Chelsea. And
I remember. I remember it all.
Yep.
the Flash movie has been moved 5 times from its original date. March 23rd, 2018.
That was the original date. It was supposed to come
March 16th, 2019. July 1st, 2022. June 3rd. These makes no sense. Anyways, this is out of order, but it's been moved 5 times, starting from 2018, and it's going to be released in 2023 now.
So now I understand the
5
last 2
years.
years maybe because of COVID, but now what's the excuse? Like,
They have they have shots from it. It's
So
is it not ready, or are they afraid that it's not going to make enough money with people going to the movies?
I think it's one of 2 things. The optimistic thing is the Batman whipped ass so much that they want to try to figure out a way to maybe splice in Barry running through the Speed Force and ending up in Pattinson's Gotham.
that'd be a tough.
Right.
Right, but I know you're saying.
That's the
Best case
optimistic.
scenario.
That's the best case scenario.
Yeah.
The other side is that it's terrible.
Yeah. Bad.
The
Capital B.
movie is bad.
I don't know anything about the Flash, so
It has. There's the Flash. We've been saying this for years. Like Adam said, literal years. The Flash movie, this Flashpoint adaptation movie, could solve all of DC's problems.
It could.
You could cast all new people.
Yep.
You could get rid of Ben Affleck like they're already doing, but he's in this. He's in this movie.
who's playing the Flash?
It's Ezra Miller.
Ezra Miller, the same Flash from
He was
Zack
at the end of,
Snyder's
he was at
Justice
the end of
League.
Peacemaker.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, they could solve everything because Flash can travel between dimensions, just like kind of like how Spider-Man does that in that movie. That's how the things happen in Spider-Man. He can do that and he can. So anyway, they could have done so many cool things. They could have started so many cool things. They could have worked new characters in, old characters out,
And kept the multiverse too. Kept
Right.
Snyder's version, kept Matt Reeves' version.
and it would have all made sense.
Right.
But they're gonna fuck it up because it's already very clear that they're fucking it up.
Right.
Seems
So,
like the more they're delaying it, the more they're going to be getting their fingers in
Fiddling,
there.
right.
Yeah.
a while back I had seen that like the new plan for the updated Justice League post Flash was so Ezra Miller's still the Flash. Gal Gadot is still Wonder Woman, which is great, and Jason Momoa was still Aquaman. But then they would replace Henry Cavill with Sasha Calle, who's going to play Supergirl in the Flash movie. Fine, I can get used to it, but fucking Superman.
That's the problem
How
is,
do you get rid of such a perfect Superman?
And not only that, it's Henry Cavill.
Somehow
Superman's a
whipping-
different character than Supergirl or
Right.
Superwoman. They're different characters. They all exist in the same universe.
Right. And then somehow whipping Shazam, even though, like, when the fuck did that movie come out?
Shaquille O'Neal?
2017?
Yeah, I liked Shazam a lot.
I liked it too, but like,
Is that the Shaquille O'Neal one?
The thing about Shazam was no.
and then
You're thinking of the Sinbad one.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
the kicker was no more Affleck, but 70-year-old Michael Keaton would be the Justice League Batman.
Insane, but he's in it, right? He's in the
He's
Flash
in it.
movie.
He's in the Flash movie.
Michael Keaton.
And-
I like Michael Keaton, but I don't need to see him be a superhero anymore.
And he is
So we've seen
the
Birdman.
HBO, I don't know if it's a movie or a show coming out, Batgirl. Michael
Yeah.
Keaton is her Batman.
Yeah,
In that.
that's like a Batman Forever type thing, right?
I don't know.
He's old.
Yeah, exactly. Well, obviously, but
I think honestly, at this point now, the only thing that's going to save the DCEU that core like the Batman is fine. They're going to do their own thing and have their own universe. It's going to be fine.
Batman is like Spider-Man in a sense where like it's awesome if it's connected, but it doesn't need to be.
No, it
You know what I
has
mean?
so
He has
many-
enough villains and enough like sidekicks and
The only thing that's going to save it is Black Adam. Is The Rock.
right, Black Adam. Yep, that
The
one's
Rock is the only thing that'll save it.
but that got
Because
delayed too, right?
It got pushed along with the other ones, but the Flash is the reason why everything got pushed back.
right.
So they're trying to keep everything in order.
Right. So,
I think Black Adam seems like it's going to be cool.
but The Rock is going to save this franchise.
Yes.
Because if people get out of their houses and go to the movies for The Rock.
Yes,
Right.
they do.
The Rock is steroids for your franchise.
Right.
The thing at the end of Shazam where it's like, oh, Shazam was great. Oh, there's 7 Shazams now?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. But I think Black Adam is going to be the one to do it. I think Black Adam is going to be the one to save it. Whether or not we lose Ezra Miller as that Flash along the way and they have a new Flash.
Right.
Because then again, right? I mean, his movie could do that. I don't know. But it's very disheartening because we've been looking forward to that movie for a while.
Yeah,
Because there's so many great Flash storylines, especially Flashpoint.
Yeah. I'm so afraid that it's the worst case
gonna be
scenario
so
and that
bad.
it's terrible.
You know, Neil's just waiting for it to
Oh.
be bad.
Waiting.
Do you know what's will be awful about that is too, like when was the last capital B bad superhero movie you've seen? Like bad, terrible bad.
Probably Superman with
X-Men
for me.
Dark Phoenix sucked.
Kevin Spacey.
yeah, that
Well,
was
so-
a bad.
Yeah, right.
movie.
Dark Phoenix is maybe the last. Fantastic Four.
But so I want to watch Dark Phoenix again. I want to give it one more shot. But like the last truly bad superhero movie that I saw was the Fantastic Four, the reboot.
with Miles Teller.
I never saw that.
It was
It was-
the worst thing maybe one of the worst things I've ever seen.
the first 20, 25 minutes was like, okay. I thought it was like, okay. And I remember being so hyped for that movie after the first year. I'm like, this looks fucking dope. And then the first 20 minutes, and then there was all like behind the scenes, like a ton of shit going on. Like that director, like wanted no part, like he was dogging the movie on Twitter before it came out.
Yeah,
That's not a good sign.
not good.
Because of like creative differences in like what he wanted to do. They just
It was a
didn't do.
disjointed disaster.
Right. And so like the first 20, 25 minutes of the movie, I was like, all right, this isn't so bad. But then after that, like it gets so impossibly bad, Ryan. Like you can't even wrap your mind around.
I
how
don't
fucking
even know if
terrible
I
it
knew
is.
this movie existed.
The final fight.
Yeah, Ryan. Miles Teller is Mr. Fantastic. Michael B. Jordan is Johnny Storm.
Yeah.
And the movie's fucking terrible.
terrible.
Yeah, that's how you know you have bad writing or too much studio input.
You lost Michael B. Jordan in your superhero franchise. That must burn you alive inside. And then he goes in and crushes it as Killmonger in Black Panther.
Right.
As everything.
In everything,
Creed.
right?
Yeah, it's Kate Mara,
Kate Mara.
Michael B. Jordan, Miles Teller,
What's the name of the guy that plays the thing?
and Jamie Bell.
Jamie Bell. You'd recognize him if you saw him.
Yeah, Tim Blake Nelson is in it.
But Ryan, you know what? You're not a huge comic book guy, but if I showed you a Doctor Doom mask, you'd know what it was.
Yeah, the guy from Nip Tuck plays him in the.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
The
The original one. Michael Chiklis,
the Doctor Doom.
Yeah. Good fit.
Chris Evans.
The Doctor
He's gonna
Doom
make
in
it.
this one, he gets like stuck in the negative zone for years, and when he finally like escapes, it looks like his face is covered in aluminum foil and he has green eyes.
It's terrible.
It's so bad.
It's
Like
so
if we made the movie with our budget.
It's
bad.
terrible.
Yeah, it's like halfway through the movie they just pulled all funding.
Yeah.
like oh no, this is gonna be bad.
That sucks.
So anyway, yeah, that was the last bad one. But if they are able to do that in the year of our Lord 2023, a bad superhero movie shouldn't be a thing.
No.
You should know the formula by now to make it a movie where people will enjoy it.
Because there's so many good ones.
There's so many good ones. Just copy what Marvel does. Marvel copies every other Marvel movie, and we still love it and go see the movies.
Right.
It's good.
$1 billion at the box office.
Right. Or go get Zack Snyder back. Like
Right.
one or the other.
Right. Like they are when
You
this,
obviously can't figure it out on your own.
if this it's going to be such vindicate. It must feel so good to be Zack
Yes.
Snyder because people want his stuff in theaters.
Yeah.
They want his vision. He wants to make it.
Right.
And they will not, for whatever reason,
won't let it happen.
Let him happen.
So I already saw it. Remember, like that they released that Flash, like the 2022 year of DC trailer, and like there's like bits of the Flash in it, and you can see like he's wearing an animated. His suit is CGI'd onto him. Did we not learn anything from Green Lantern? Did we not learn anything?
Apparently
what's
not.
happening? Like
Apparently not.
that consensus that movie sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of
didn't
it
see
was
that either.
because of the animated suit, the very clearly animated suit. And what the fuck did they go and do to this movie
Right.
they've been working on for 8 years?
Those type of-
animated the suit.
Those type of lazy shortcuts is what's going to be the downfall of that movie and the DC in general.
Right. And you know what? It also didn't help them either that the Zack Snyder's costume designer just like was amazing for
Yeah.
Justice League.
Right. At what point does DC just be like, you know what, we'll just make Batman movies?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's really all we can do. That's
We figured that one out.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Anyway, I think what we'll do is maybe we'll just make this a Batman episode, like you were saying,
Yeah.
Adam, and then we'll just go right into the actual Average Nobody's podcast now. So if you got this far, the other episode, the actual episode, is going to be at 138 is going to be its own thing. So go listen to that now. But anyway, Batman was great. We'll talk to you guys later.